All right, welcome back. So, um, just to quickly recap, the energy that you are embodying here during the new moon in Scorpio as we transition into the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio are the magic of life. So, during in a time that is really kind of if you listen to everybody talk, it's a difficult energy. Mercury retrograde. But what's beautiful is you've got the energy of the new moon, which is the rebirth here. And so you're really asked to look at the magic that's unfolding in your life. Try to avoid being pessimistic and not believing in yourself first and foremost, and also trusting in the process. That really digging into the magic of any situation empowers you to move through it versus being victimized by something. Now, the external energy influencing you is the child eternal. So this is somebody or maybe a group of people where their child attributes, no matter what their age, are present. They live from a wholehearted place. And when somebody is in the shadow attribute of this, they're probably really lacking a sense of personal responsibility for their choices. There's probably a lot of consequences in their life, perhaps late car payments or, late bills or something like that, because maybe somebody's choosing to go out and get their hair and nails done. That would be a shadow attribute of the child eternal. The light attribute of that is the remaining young in body, mind, and spirit. So, knowing that it is your inner child where you find the joy in everyday, ordinary moments. So, that's your external influence. So, the alchemist came up in reverse. Now, the shadow attribute, so this is it in reverse. I feel like now that I'm really looking at this, here with the beakers, I'm seeing the emotions, I'm seeing the water of emotions. So, in regards to the shadow attribute of this coming up in reverse, the misuse of power and knowledge that comes through spiritual practice is somebody manipulating you with their knowledge, their language, their verbiage, and it is their actions, it is what they're putting into their magical recipe that matters. Now, what I'm really seeing here is just this influx of blue in terms of the water and what's being used. And I think that likely the shadow attribute that I'm seeing in the art here is an emotional manipulation. So, be mindful of that because this is the alchemist is an external influence. It did come in reverse, which is the shadow attribute. And if you are on the other side of that, where it is the transformation of base motives and goals into golden wisdom, what that is that's basically taking lemons and turning it into a lemon meringue pie. That's like going a level above lemonade, right? So the alchemist takes what they have, they turn base metal or lead into gold. It is the hunk of coal that is the diamond, right? It is so if there's an external influence in the light energy, this is somebody who's a manifester and a creator and knows how to use tools such as meditation, life visioning. They have a toolbox that they use to ascend versus a toolbox that they use to manipulate and tear down. So, oftentimes people's words can be really sweet and, it's like high fructose corn syrup. It's not sugar cane, right? Like it's not organically, truly sweet from a good place. It's been highly processed. So, whatever that might mean for you. So, those are the archetypes or the influencing energies during this new moon in Scorpio for you for the next 2 weeks or fortnight. And we're going to dig in here to the magical map. And in the first video, if you just chose to come straight over to cards, the we talked about Scorpio being the house of sex, death, and magic, transformation. And so, with so much Scorpio influence being in Scorpio season right now, there's a lot of transformation going on, and that goes as good as we as humans allow it to go. So, what do we have for the next 2 weeks ahead for the Scorpio new moon for the viewers? Week ahead for the Scorpio new moon. I'm sorry, next 2 weeks, Scorpio new moon. Scorpio new moon. Dreams, the magical map shifter. Scorpio new moon. Oh. And it's on the floor, guys. Give me a sec. So, commitment came up. When I pulled it up off the floor, it came up in reverse. So, I'm going to leave it in reverse for now. Any other messages? Oh, yeah, okay. All right, I got it. Okay, so let's see if we can... Okay. So, yeah, you've got a lot coming up in the next couple weeks. So, you have you have a lot of magic coming in. And child magical is the energetic state or the archetype that that is your influencing energy for the next fortnight or 2 weeks until the full moon. Now, again, looking at the light attributes of this is really looking at the potential of the sacred beauty in all things and that the belief that everything is possible. Now, this could kind of be seen as the Wheel of Fortune card, but let's just kind of divide these up as they're speaking to me. So, you are in the field of dreams. We're in Scorpio season, which is new moon is a time of rebirth and death and transformation. And you can see here all of the butterflies, just all of the magic. You are surrounded by magic. Now, magic is perceived individually. I perceive magic as the ordinary things that are brought into my attention that bring me out of circumstances that could suck me into a bad place, right? Like sitting at a stoplight and noticing a flowering bush for the first time ever, and you sit at that stoplight every single day. It's noticing those moments of magic. Now, here we have all of these eggs that are being, you can see where some, they're sitting on their eggs, where this egg is being hatched. There are many houses in your life. You have the house of relationships, you have the house of career, you have the house of finance, money, hobbies. There's so many different things that you do in your life, and each thing might be in a different version of itself. So, in regards to your job promotion, perhaps that egg is cracking open, where in terms of a personal relationship, that's still being nourished. So, your dreams, you have your eyes on where you want to go, understanding that it just takes time, that flexibility, and realizing that there's magic in these eggs that you're nurturing right now, these seeds that you've planted. Your field of dreams, your garden is planted and growing. Like it is evolving. And the magical map shifter comes up to kind of show all the different cycles that you've been through in regards to this wrap up. Your map is shifting, your timeline is shifting, and new things are coming in for you. And I think that you're going to have a lot of probably time in your emotions with the magic stream. Um, that there's a source that we'll call the divine, whatever you want to name that source, God, whoever that is for you. The source, the divine, is feeding your emotional waters with beauty and confidence for the road or the path that you're on. It looks like perhaps, you know, here with commitment coming in reverse, when it's upright, that there's a movement towards that energy. And that this to me is a far more romantic card. But I'm wondering if you aren't going to have to break a commitment and clean house to be able to fully usher in these magical energies, these life shifting, life changing, dreams coming true energies. There's something in regards to a commitment you made, whether that be to a job, a person, something in the realm of long term and a lot of time, right? A lot of effort, a lot of just commitment, right? Commitment's a big word, and I think people take it really, really lightly. And whatever this was that you were committed to, whatever project it was, I can tell you an example of a commitment that I've recently released was I'm a certified elite life coach. And when I first received my certification, I thought that it meant because I was a certified life coach that I now had to become a life coach. And I was very committed to a storyline in my head about what that would look like. Would I have one-on-ones? Would I do group coaching? What was this going to look like in regards to my new career? Well, as it turns out, I didn't actually go into life coaching as a career. What that did is that opened a path for me professionally in my corporate career for me to become a corporate light worker and go out and really dig into the coaching methodologies in my profession to get those messages out. So I became empowered in a new way, which was the field of dreams, right? I was sitting on an egg and I didn't know how the coaching egg was going to look before it hatched. When it hatched, I had to clean house and get those old thoughts of the old paradigm of what I was thought I was going to be doing out. And what that meant is I had to break my commitment to my belief that being a life coach was the only way to be a coach. Does that make sense? So this may not be romantic in regards to the commitment being broken, though it may be. If you are having a romantic cleaning of the house, so to speak, that makes space for the new to come in. That makes space for what is aligned in your current garden, in your current field of dreams, which I love to call the field of potential. If I get an idea and I'm like, ooh, yeah, I want to throw this into my maybe box, I call it the field of potential. That's what this card is. This is the place where you get to put all your dreams and you get to go and pick them up and decide if you're going to put time, energy, effort, and potentially money into it. Because to grow it, you have to be willing to sit on it and nurture it. You have to be committed in the upright position. Anything that you want to grow requires a commitment from you. The universe is there to show you the way, it shows you the path, it gives you little intuition and intuitive hits on how to create, and it's up to you if you decide to take that step, that next step. So your magical map shifter is here and is, your wheel of fortune is shifting. You've been through the fires and the flames, and you've created the magic. You are fully supported by the divine here as you move through this new moon. So that's really, really beautiful. I want to dig into what is it that our viewers are being asked to surrender here during this new moon. cycle in Scorpio. We have the Power of Surrender cards by Judith Orloff. Beautiful deck. Here's the box. In times of change and intense energy, Scorpio's extremely passionate energy. It's the Scorpio is going to represent, the uprising of those things that we have oppressed and not nurtured inside of ourselves. And this is a time where the energy, the external energies of the alignments are bringing them forward. They're going to, if you have unnurtured loves and goals and passions and dreams that have been sitting dormant, those are a part of your essential self. If we go back to this death card, this is the time, this is the calling in of the dreams that you left behind to potentially serve somebody else's dreams, some other group of dreams. Maybe this is your job or your position at a company. Maybe you've been working on a project or within a work group for a really long time, and the vision just isn't aligned with you anymore. And maybe it would make more sense for you to get out of maybe the social media division of your company and go into the human resources version of your company or something to that effect. But during this time of transformation, surrendering those things that prevent us from allowing those dreams to even begin to step forward, it's your opportunity to let those go. The energy during this time supports that. And in fact, it's likely going to really put it forward for you. Now, what I'm seeing here is that I'm seeing a really beautiful, lovely reading during this time of new beginnings in a difficult, energetic season of Scorpio. And it's only difficult if you fight it. If you can just, lay down on a bed of lavender and allow your transformation to occur, those parts of you that want to leave will go. They will begin to fall away. And some of them will take a lot of effort on your part because maybe they are things that want to stay in your life because you serve a purpose for it or them. And yet, how much does it cost your soul to keep it there? How much does it cost your dreams? So, what are we surrendering during the Scorpio new moon, during this time of transformation and rebirth? Surrendering. What are we surrendering? What's Rockaritaville? What's the Rockaritaville tribe surrendering during the new moon? All right. Oh, that's beautiful. Surrender to inner peace. Cultivate inner peace on a daily basis in quiet meditative moments. Focus on the stillness within and enjoy this inner refuge. Others will feel your good vibes too, and your life will flow more easily. So, during the next 2 weeks, you can surrender to inner peace. Clean your house, clutter clear. It's a really great time to do it with the seasons coming in. If you change house decorations, find that peace within yourself, within your home, within your car, with the music you listen to. There is a place of inner peace that you can always find, and only you know where that's at. This is an interesting one, especially during a time of difficult communication during Mercury retrograde. Mercury does go retrograde the 31st of October, and we are pre-shadow and really kind of getting ready to move into that energy with communication in the forefront and the inability to maybe articulate in ways that we want to, that bring forward the highest in others and in ourselves. We need to surrender the need to be right. We don't need to get the last word. So in video 1, I told you about being delayed in Detroit and my bad behavior. Or maybe that was an earlier video and I didn't tell you, because this is not my first effort at this. So, Mercury retrograde, roll with it. But, I had some really bad behavior with an airline agent at the Detroit airport, and I knew I was in it and I couldn't make myself leave it. And I chose what I chose. And while I still feel completely justified about my feelings, the way in which I articulated my feelings was pretty low frequency. It was pretty low vibe. And so, regardless of my need to be right, no matter how right I thought I was, this says to give others the gift of letting them be right. By yielding, not rigid, this will help resolve conflicts and improve your relationships. And I think that no truer card could have been drawn, because I'll tell you what, one of the things that, one of the big messages in the last 2 weeks that I've been delivering, facilitating coaching courses to up and coming leaders in call centers, is that when we're coaching to behaviors, that there's more than one truth. And while your truth may be true for you, somebody else's truth is true for them, and both are right. And if you can surrender your need to be right, you really do give them a gift in regards to feeling heard, feeling witnessed, feeling validated. And, if you can gain agreement that you are both right, then all the better. And if you can't, then it's okay to let it go and surrender the need to be right and walk away from that conversation in an archetype that, maybe you have a part in something. Maybe you are not 100% as right as you think you are. And if you have an inability to grow up and be responsible, and take responsibility for the ways that we're communicating with others, then, it doesn't lend itself to resolution. It doesn't lend itself to being able to solve and resolve from a place of love, that it's actually coming from a place of fear of not being heard, not being witnessed, potentially shaming and blaming. We don't need to blame people for what's happened. All we need to do is be responsible for the next step in our own journey. So, are there any more cards that want to come out for surrender? I feel like I want to go over to the bottom. The bottom is surrender to the magic of who you are. Go do you, boo. We all have magic in us, even in the mundane aspects of life. Remember that you are a magical being with uniqueness and worth that come from just being you. You've got magic all over this reading. The magical map shifter, the magic stream. You've got the field of dreams. You've got child magical as your archetype, as your influencing energy. Like, you have some really big gifts coming in for you during this next phase. And I think that what you are being asked to do is, be mindful of receiving them. Open your arms, receive. If the gift is coming in and maybe your intuition is telling you something to be cautious of, especially with that alchemist having come in reverse. I feel like now that we've talked about it, I can turn it upright. That, wolf in sheep's clothing, all of those kinds of things. Just keep that in mind. That is a card of mindfulness, is what that is. And also the commitment came up in reverse, which was, are you making the commitments you want to make? Are you keeping the commitments you want to keep? And what do you need to get out of your commitment field to make room for the things that you really do want to commit to? So we've got the charms here, still rocking the Halloween Scorpio vibe with the coffin here, which I love. So let's clarify the cards for the new moon next 2 weeks for our viewers. right. Um, so let's see what we have here. So in terms of your child magical, we have the pumpkin, which Halloween's coming. We have so this is so you're hanging with your pod. Um, I would say that you've got important friendships. You might be coming out of some time in the underworld. Scorpio season is time in the underworld. So, with the diver down flag here, I know that I've been spending time in the underworld. I went through a massive upgrade this morning. I tried to do this video several times and just it was upgrade after upgrade. So your pod or your clan or whoever your people are, your soul family, if you need help, don't be afraid to reach out to them. They can bring you back to that. We have paper here with a session cap. So maybe you're going to have a session with your friends where you're hanging out. That it's going to be a time. Well, paper to me is a so if we were to look at rock paper scissors, is what this is this is a bottle cap from beers that come with rock paper scissors on the caps. That really the paper is the softest defeat of them all, right? The rock smashes the scissors cut the paper, and yet paper still can win through its soft and gentle approach of wrapping itself around a situation. So, whatever that might mean for you, but paper's coming in for you and a soft approach to a solution or a resolution. In Child Eternal, so this is beautiful. We have the star here. So again, more representation of cosmic magic and help and assistance coming in from the ethers. The sunflower, you've got two sunflowers here, which are to me the sun card in the tarot. They bring forward divine happiness. And we have in the charms, we have two teddy bears. One's a little pink one on a swing, and then we've got the little blue ones. So these clearly define the masculine and the feminine. So with your child eternal, that there's somebody that looks committed to perhaps bringing in a relationship to you, and maybe might not be. So maybe this commitment card, perhaps we'll dig into that a little bit. Well, we will. But perhaps this is that commitment card is also about a commitment coming into you, which is beautiful. So we have the starfish here. Lots of bling coming out in your cards today. And then we've got a arrow that says Tokyo on it. So perhaps you're traveling in the next few weeks. Oh, goodness. All right, well, it says Tokyo. With your alchemist, we had the, I'm not a sewer, what are these called? Thimbles, a sign of protection coming forward. And that fell over the word shadow attribute. So you do have a shadow attribute. You do have an alchemist, a reverse creator is what I would call them. You've got people who create from a space of fear, which means they bring in low frequency manifestations. And then you have the people who vibrate on the frequency and create alchemically from their internal fires or their passion. So we have a steering wheel from Eurocar here that fell here in the center of the light attributes. So, whatever the driving force is, which is what this says to me, is that this is a driving force. Again, with any of the cards or any of the charms, when you find meaning in them for yourselves, You're receiving your own invisible messages. Please receive the messages that you get in addition to the messages that I receive for the collective. But something's driving this. There's a creation in process, and you want to protect it. In the field of dreams, we have a goldfish, and we have what I like to call the funky chicken, the rubber chicken. So I would say that a chicken has hatched. Maybe a fish has been born. These are all really, I consider these to be positive. Sometimes the chicken comes out as something like stinky and old that needs to be thrown away, but this is actually coming through with the intentional humor of a funky rubber chicken. So maybe it's the rebirth of humor in your field of dreams. Maybe it's been a long time since you've laughed, and water. This could be also a Pisces in the house, or another water sign. So with that, you know, um, I think that there's some humor and some real happiness in your field of dreams. The scissors are falling in right next to cleaning house. So there's definitely cords that you're cutting. There are things that you're cutting out of your life. It looks like that you're probably going to be done with this by Christmas when this falls in between the cards. I consider them outside influences. So Christmas is an outside influence. And as you clean house, what transforms is the butterfly, right? The butterfly is in reverse. It came up really kind of matching the dark, muddy colors of the card. And in this card, we really have light that is trying to flow through and in and out, like into your space to transform into this. So let your light in. Also, we have the Hershey's Kiss. So, as an outlying energy, over here on the commitment card, this is half of a infinity ring. When the other half comes out with it, that portends really good fortune. I don't see its other half here, so perhaps if this is a relationship commitment coming in for you with the child eternal energy, that it's still creating itself. It looks like there's some damage in the heart area here, some heart holes. And while those appear to be mending, that there's still some spaces here on the commitment card that